To many people's surprise, Valve did an interview talking about the future of CS2, and so I'll be going over all the information that's important to investors, and what exactly it means for you. Just a word from this video sponsor. CSGO Empire offers a 0% buy or sell fee with a full peer-to-peer market system, meaning if you're worried about community bans, it is not mandatory to put your API key in, so there'd be no way that Valve knows where you're trading. This market has high liquidity and an auction system where once you list your item, anyone can bid over that price for the next 3 minutes if they wanted the skin. If it doesn't sell within those 3 minutes, and it gets listed onto the market for that price. This allows you to snipe some deals as low as 95% above, and once you sell your skins for coins, there's no wager requirement to withdraw. Thank you to CSGO Empire for sponsoring this video. The first major thing they talk about is the actual release of CS2, with the question, what would they have done differently? Valve responds by saying the only real regret they had is communicating the system requirements for CS2 and how some older computers might not be able to handle it. They then continue to touch on the subject of the rough release that CS2 had, and basically they said they knew it would be rough on release, but it's almost a necessary decision for them because their current beta test players was an ever-shrinking subset of the community. And so by them releasing it fully, they get a lot more people in the game, meaning a lot more bugs get reported, which they can fix. And they've said the game has grown significantly faster since the release, meaning they stand behind the decision to release it in its current state and believe it was an overall positive for the long term, which makes sense. The only real impact it's had is on investors, and the player count has mostly maintained what it's had, and Valve sees this as a long-term project anyway. So from that perspective, why wouldn't they release it in its current state? And if we move down further, it's confirmed that Valve doesn't even check the community market, which probably isn't a bad thing for the development of the game. It just means we're alone out here. And they also talk about the transition of skins from CSGO to CS2, and they basically said they don't see it as an NFT market or anything like that, and they don't even know much about NFTs, but they said transitioning skins over to CS2 and hopefully retaining their value was simply the pro-consumer way of going about the update in their mind, which is what we need more of, and I feel like should be commonplace in game companies, but it really isn't in this day and age, which is good. It's nice to know that Valve knows about how much we care about our skins. And then finally, the biggest thing I'd like to cover is when they talk about where CS2 will look in 10 years. And I believe that's truly the most important thing for CS2 investors, because by putting money into this game, we're trusting that this game even survives for 10 years and hopefully grows. Maybe not a full 10, but you know what I mean. What they've said is their goal is long term. They're looking to improve the game over the next 10 years and try and do a similar thing to what they did with CSGO. And so their focus is improving the game and making the best long-term decisions, which arguably is exactly what you want as an investor. And they said, and I quote, "We don't have a specific vision that we're trying to realize, but rather a process we want to continue to execute for many years," which I think is a very important piece, because that's exactly what you want in a game developer. We want Valve to continue to communicate with its players and see where its faults are, and ultimately that's going to get us the best version of the game and make our investments do better for the future. But they talk about a few other things like the maps, creator tools, Subtick, and if you want to check them out, I will leave the link in the description, but those are the most important ones for investors. It's a very rare time to see Valve communicating like this and giving us some insight into their thought process behind the development of CS2, and I think should be instilling at least a little bit of confidence in you as an investor, because we now know the reason that the CS2 release was a little rocky, which definitely shook up the market and scared a lot of people off, and the fact that they're trying to keep this game for the long term, which is good. And we obviously know that Valve can't count to 3, so CS2 ideally is going to be the foreseeable future for Counter-Strike, which is exactly what we want. But yeah, I think this is information that pretty much every investor should know about, and I hope this was interesting. If it was, drop a subscription just so I know to make more of these kind of videos. That's all. Bye bye.